Michelle, welcome back. So I think we have a couple books that we've read so far before we get into the podcast book today. So you want to go first?
Okay, so I read 2 other books this week, I guess.
Yeah.
It's half of the week.
So far.
I
Since the last
read
one.
Priest and Finding You, which are both romances.
Okay.
Priest is a priest smut book, obviously.
Okay.
And then Finding You is a small town romance.
Okay. Cool.
So I needed something to like kind of cleanse my palate after Song of Achilles and all the names, and then we had Gideon with all the names.
With all the fucking names. That is funny. I finished the second book of The Bonds That Tie, which is Savage Bonds, and I'm currently like halfway through the third book. I'm trying to I don't know. It's just a really simple read because I've already read them before. So then I'm trying, I'm going back through and, it's a why choose, powers, why choose. So I'm rereading through that and reading, since I haven't read the last couple books in the series. So I'm on book 3. And then, just Gideon.
Yeah, just Gideon.
Other than that, anything else you want to go over?
No. Unless you want to go over.
It doesn't matter if you don't have anything. I mean,
we could go over.
Okay. Well, I'm super proud about it. So halfway through the year now, I have read 114 books. Only 15 or 20 of those are manga, so subtract whatever you need to subtract. And then I'm on a currently 123-day reading streak.
So I've read 55 this year.
Okay.
And then I think I'm on a streak of 160 some. Let me check. My Bible.
Yeah, I was a scrub. But this is just from this, I guess technically, this year, because I started using the app this year. So, I'm still using the Fable app to kind of track.
165-day streak.
Okay, so 165 days streak. Dang. I only have 123.
I read every night.
I know.
So it makes it easy.
Yeah, and this is just I'm only actually tracking that since the beginning of this year, so I feel that's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about it.
I average about 600 to 800 pages a week.
Okay, yeah, I don't track that. I probably should. That's probably a good idea, but I don't. I just finished the book as my trophy. Sorry. So yeah, I only read that one other book, and then the week. Yeah. So are we ready to get into it?
Yes.
Okay, so we read Gideon the Ninth by,
Tamsyn Muir.
Tamsyn Muir. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds right to me. I don't know. So there's a lot of characters in this book again.
Yes.
Sorry if I butchered them, because that's just how I am apparently with names. So, anything you want to talk about before getting into it, or?
No. Besides, there's 9 houses. That's where
Right.
Gideon's from. And then there are 2 people from each house. Except for the 3rd.
Yeah. Yes, that is very good.
So it makes it easier to remember that.
Yes, because I think we kind of discussed, sometimes we'll maybe use names, or sometimes we're just going to refer to whatever house they are, just because there's so many characters. Obviously, 2 times 9 is 18, plus 19, plus some other characters. So we're looking at least, a good 30 characters from all of it. So I know there's 5 acts, about 37 chapters. I think before going in, just kind of as a precaution, the point of view is different from anything I've ever read. So it was kind of a weird.
So she almost breaks the 4th wall.
Yeah,
in
that's
places.
kind of how I felt. She's the narrator and the main point of view too.
Yes.
So that threw me for a loop, because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on in the beginning. I'm like, why is she talking about her? But once I figured it out, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know of course, the internet, I was like, how are people feeling about this book, you know? And a lot of people, that's their main hang up with liking the book or not liking the book, which I can kind of get, because some manga, I really don't like the artwork and I won't even read it just because of the artwork I don't really like. So I can kind of see it. I just kind of wanted to say that going in, because that's just, sometimes people are like, no. Yeah. Like, you like what you like, and that's fine. But I just throw that out there, because sometimes it gets a little confusing, especially as I was reading. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I like had to reorient my brain to freaking figure out what was going on. So that's the only thing that, I wouldn't even say it's a downside, but just going in, I feel like I wish I would have known that going in. That way I wasn't so like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But that's just my own hang up, so. Okay.
It's also a 500-page book.
Yes. So that was kind of like,
Lots.
It was a lot. So I took like 2 separate notes too. So it kind of starts out in the beginning of the book. The main character, which obviously her name's Gideon, if you didn't figure that out.
Yeah.
And she's from the 9th house, which is, there's only 9 houses. So they're like the last house, I guess, technically. And it starts out with her I think it's her 87th attempt
I think I wrote it down.
to escape the planet. And the main other, I wouldn't say, she is a main character, the other character, but not like any kind of point of view. This is, the book's only told from Gideon. Kind of. I don't want to spoil too much. Straight out the fucking bat, okay? But the other character name is Harrowhark Nonogenimus. So Harrow.
I called her Harrow throughout.
Okay, Harrow, like, that's her main nickname, is just Harrow, or Harrowheart. Like, that's her full name, but, yeah.
And then the second book is called Harrow the Ninth.
Yes.
So I just thought, like, she's just Harrow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it kind of starts out with, at this point, Gideon's 18, I think, 18. She doesn't grow older. I mean, she does, but she doesn't have a birthday. Okay, 18-year-old, sorry. Confusing her with the last book I read. I'm like, she just turned 19. Wait, no. Retract this. Okay, yeah, so she's 18, and she just, so she wants to leave the 9th.
Yes, she wants to join the cohort, which is their military.
Yes.
And get off the 9th because she hates the 9th, which is a planet. I think they're all planets.
Yeah, I took it as it's a star system, and there are 9 planets because there's 9 different houses, which I took as they each have like specialty in necromancy. Like,
yes.
The art of necromancy.
Yeah.
So like one focuses more on bones, another one focuses more on internal. I don't know about all the other ones because I was a little above my that's kind of how I took it. I don't know. It's kind of in space, so you see like shuttles and stuff, and that's how they get to like one planet to the other. So I think it's a planet.
Yeah.
I
think it's a planet.
We're rolling with that.
Not that it's important, because
it takes place
for like 2 seconds in the 9th, and then we go somewhere else.
Yes.
But Harrow like thwarts her escape, and then she goes, "You have to go to the muster," which is like this big meeting that's happening, and basically the meeting is that Harrow and her Cavalier need to go to the first house.
They've been summoned, kind of.
Yes, by the
Emperor?
Grand Emperor God
Yeah.
person that they haven't seen in 10,000 years.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like the first act is just Gideon and Harrow kind of putting it all in line. Like, Gideon wants to fucking leave. She's like, I had it escaped. And then Harrow, thwarted her and then forced her to go to the stupid meeting about it. And then basically it comes down to Harrowhark needs Gideon to be a cavalier.
Yes,
for
because
the house.
The
they're big on tradition.
Orderus, the guy that was supposed to be her cavalier, like,
Yeah.
and his mom just take off in the shuttle that was supposed to be Gideon's.
Yeah. Yes. So, and because the shuttle stayed,
Yes.
and then, yeah, which is you just think of it kind of like a desolated planet, and there's not a lot of people left that is technically alive on the back planet. I'm gonna say technically just because I don't feel like necromancy is just.
Well, there's a lot of skeletons. There's
Yeah.
some like priests,
nuns, sisters, or whatever they call them.
Before this, in Gideon and Harrow's generation, there was a mass death of children,
Yes.
of 200 children. Harrow, and the other guy that was going to be her cavalier are the only 3 that survived.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out exactly what it's called. I can't remember now that anyways, it's not important enough. I mean, it is important, but so this is kind of where the plot thickens, I guess. So Harrow and Gideon basically strike up a deal. Harrow's like, if you go with me and do this thing, make me become a lictor, then I will release you. Because Gideon is not from the 9th house. She's more of an indentured servant, kind of, is how they kind of describe her.
Yeah, well, her mom and her fell into the 9th planet.
From space.
From space.
We're thinking.
And we don't know. Her mom died after that, but the last thing she said was Gideon 3 times. So that's where she gets her name.
Yeah, Gideon.
But they don't know anything other than that.
Right. So they kind of clothed her and housed her, and now that she grew up on the 9th, they're like, we can't let you leave, like a cult kind of. You know too much.
Also, her and Harrow like to act like they don't like each other.
Yes. I think in the beginning of the book, she really just didn't like. I think Gideon really didn't like Harrow Hark, but I think Harrow Hark had a soft spot for Gideon. I think. You kind of see a little bit later in the book, so.
Yeah. They both say they hate each other in one way or another, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. It's not, you don't, like, the things, like, actions speak louder than words, kind of, so, like, her actions and going there and, like, kind of protecting Harrow Hark, even though she really doesn't fucking have to, is just kind of like, oh, like, okay, you kind of like her, I guess. So I think that's when Act 2 starts, is where they, well, first of all, I guess they had to train Gideon, which she's a savant, apparently. So she's really great at 2-handed swords. So a long sword and a short sword, which I don't know what fighting style that would be called, sorry.
So she more has a broadsword as far as, instead of like a pirate sword, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So like a long sword, and then she had like a smaller sort of dagger kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, because being a cavalier, you have to be trained in the, what is it, rapier?
Yeah.
Rapier. Which is kind of just like a hooked blade.
It's more of a fencing sword.
Oh, okay.
So it's lighter. As far as a 2-handed sword, it's more like a broadsword.
I gotcha.
Where you have to have more strength.
I gotcha. So they had to train her in that, and it takes about 3 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they leave for the planet of doom. I only call that because of later, you'll find out.
Yes.
So this is kind of where they land on the first house, and they meet some of the other houses. I don't think they're all there yet, right?
There is all of them, but 2 of them
2 of them.
land.
Okay.
One is the 7th house, and then the other one is the 3rd house.
Okay.
The 3rd house couldn't land because they had twins. So they have 2 girls that want to be that are necromancers.
Yeah, the princesses or whatever.
And then they're a cavalier. So and they're only supposed to be one necromancer and one cavalier per each thing. And then the 7th house has a necromancer and a cavalier, but she is sick.
Yes.
That's where Dulcinea comes in.
Yes, Dulcinea. I love their names. I just can't pronounce them. Yes, and so basically there's someone that meets them on the ground, and they're named Teacher, and that's all they don't have anything else. So he's kind of like, I would say like the butler. He's just like, hey, this is what's happening. If you want to be a lictor, here is one rule. And that's it.
Ask permission before you go into a locked door.
Yeah, and that's it. You can explore as much as you want, but you cannot go through a locked door without permission. That's literally the only thing. And so Harrowheart just like, okay, Gideon, just stay in here. Shut the fuck up. Don't say anything to anyone else. And peace.
Yeah.
And Gideon's like, okay, alright. So she kind of like, she really connects with Dulcinea in the 7th house. And she's like the sickly, she's going to die in any kind of moment kind of thing.
And her cavalier is Protestalaris. Protestalaris.
Yeah.
We're going to call him Pro from now on.
Yep. I love it, Pro. Okay. Yes. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Moving on. Anyways, so,
well, what helped with the last names, because a lot of them have last names that correlate with their house.
Okay.
So, like, Dulcinea is Septimus.
Septimus, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
And then the 8th house is Octa something. But it's always like...
Oh, okay, I got
the
you.
Star's number.
Like, Sextus... Okay. I got you. Where were you when I was reading it? Fucking reading it by myself.
We can't talk about this.
I know. We try to be very, this is the first time we've talked about the book period, to be more authentic, and sometimes I'm like, Rachel, why didn't you tell me? Anyways, it's fine. I'm not salty about it at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Just saying.
Anyways, so they take it basically played off as Gideon's doing like a vow of silence because she's fucked up.
Yeah.
she did something to upset her. I don't think they're just.
I think she was training to be like one of the nuns or the sisters or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's like 2 or 3 days into like the trial, I guess is what you want to call it. So basically, teacher doesn't tell them how to become a lictor
because he doesn't know.
Yeah. A, because he doesn't know, and B, they just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's more of like you learn better when you have to learn it yourself, and that's kind of like what's happening with the locks and the keys and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so each of the house is trying to
figure out where the keys go, where the doors go, all the doors.
Yeah.
While they're also fighting each other. The Cavaliers are dueling each other.
Yeah. Because they want to see like how skill worthy each house is. It's just kind of playful in the beginning, and then it gets serious. Everyone's like, no, give us keys, give us keys. So Harrowheart already finds a key, and to like the main sub basement.
So she asked teacher for the key because they have to ask for the first key, and then there's like tests.
Yes. So Gideon's like going stir crazy because she's like, oh, I'm getting fed 3 meals a day. Like, what's going on? And so she hasn't seen Harrowheart in a minute, 2-3 days, and so I think the 6th house helps her.
Yes.
Yes. Go down and they find her like in a bone shelter. I guess is the best say, like that she's like Harrowheart's like encased in bone stuff. And that's where they find her, and they bring her back up. And
so the 6th house is I'm not even.
Palamedes Sextus
Yes.
and Camille Hector.
They are more medicine based.
Yes.
So you find out like they run her vitals and they try to figure out like they're very science and medicine.
Yes.
Is the sixth house.
Yes. Yes. Like like we said a little bit earlier, that each house kind of has like their own kind of specialty in necromancy, and I think, I don't know, this is speculation on my part, but I think it's because if you learn it all, then you become too powerful. That's why they kind of broke it down. I don't know yet, though.
I feel like it's based on their planet. So, like,
You think?
each planet has a specialty, and
Okay.
that person can't branch out from that specialty.
Okay.
They can do different things.
Yeah.
Like, Harrow can manipulate bones and make them into skeletons. And
Yeah. Without the second or third book,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what I like to think. Anyway, but yeah, I can see what you're saying too. So
they find
Finding-
Harrow. She's
Like,
almost dead. And then,
an underground lab of some sort.
yeah, and Gideon's like, okay, well, I'm going to go with you from now on.
Yeah, like this is, like, some, you have to be alive for me to be released from your servitude. And she's just going stir crazy and she wants to fight. I mean,
Yeah.
So that's when I think they start kind of.
They do their first trial. 'Cause,
Yeah, the first trial where
Harrow couldn't get it because she couldn't see her skeletons go into
Yeah.
the monster room.
Yes. Yeah, so it's like you push a button over here, you have to stay pushed on the button, and she sends some of her like minions to go, and she's like, I've lost I don't know how many bones in there. And so Gideon, she sends some more, Harrowheart does, and Gideon was like, okay, well, I'll look in this little
Window, see what's going
what the fuck's
on.
going on. And it's just this massive, like, so they call them constructs, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of some kind of necromancy magic with this big ass thing that can regenerate, and that's where all her bones went. Because he was killing them.
Yes.
Or it, whatever it is.
It's like a bone monster with goo. There's goo in there.
Yeah, it's this. So it's a very like dark and gritty, very very dark. So obviously necromancy is very dark art form. But if you're really squeamish from like
Blood and gore.
yeah, mostly blood. Yeah, I mean, just because all of the necromancers, no matter what house they are, if they overexert themselves, start sweating blood, which is just kind of grody just to think about. And there's a lot of like, oh my, what? Like what? The description is really good, and so you're just like, oh, like you feel nitty and gritty when you're reading it. So of course Gideon's like, I want to go and fight. And
Because Gideon's like, monster must fight.
yes. I just love it. So Harrowheart is like, I kind of still need you. This is like the first fucking challenge. But she kind of like talks her into doing it, and this is kind of where Harrowheart gets an upgrade in power or figures out something, I guess.
Well, this is when they start to work together.
Right.
So she draws on Gideon to help her fight the bone muck monster.
Yeah, so it's, I wouldn't call it, because this isn't the part where she seconds yet.
No.
I would say more,
She like piggybacks onto
Gideon.
To
So
Gideon.
Gideon's like, she tells Gideon to close one eye. Because obviously this is a new trick for her. She couldn't do it. So the one eye, Gideon's like fighting with the one eye, you know? And so Harrowheart tells Gideon where to fucking stab. Because it's a regeneration. So you basically have to unweave the magic for it to not regenerate.
Yes. So you have to physically fight it and fight it with necromancy.
Yeah.
So they both have to do
Like their
something.
part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like a teamwork thing.
Yes.
And then after they kill this thing that's I think already dead.
Yeah. Technically, just running on battery power.
They get a key. They get rewarded with a key. So now they have 2 keys. They have the basement key, and then they have the key that they just found that has a symbol on it that Gideon recognized from a door that Harrow hadn't found yet.
Because it was behind a tapestry.
Yeah.
Gideon's just like, I'm just wandering this place.
Well, Harrow had, the first day they were there, went around the whole place and counted all the doors.
Yes. Oh my god. And marked them on a map, and Gideon's like, oh, I found something you didn't. I love their energy when they bounce off each other. It's just hilarious. And of course, Gideon, I feel like, it's just like a mouthy character, and she's just proud, and you know what I mean? Like, it was just... Anyways, so... this is, I think, where the 5th house has the party.
Yes.
Like, because of their anniversary, so is it the 5th house?
Yes, it's 5th.
Okay. 5th house is like a married couple.
Magnus and Abigail.
Yes.
Loves doing grown-up things.
Yes. So Gideon actually fought Magnus and was like, it was very underwhelming because she was like, it was over him. and Magnus was like, huh, well, I thought it was better. Which is kind of funny. So they kind of have, it's their like anniversary, so they're throwing a party.
Yes. This chapter I feel like would be better like once you read the whole book. Because then you get, like, little snippets of what's actually going on.
Yes. Yeah. And, which I probably missed a lot of.
Yeah, I think too.
This book throws a lot of information at you, so you really have to, like, pay attention. I feel like I wasn't paying close enough attention on some parts when I was reading. And I was like, okay, scroll back. What? Let's reread this because I feel like I missed something. Don't be alarmed because I felt like that throughout the entire book.
Well, I felt like there was also a lot of characters and a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
So, like,
didn't know what was important or what was just to move.
Yeah. So there's 2 teenagers that are, like, lurking around the whole time, and so is the 3rd house. The teens are from the 4th house.
Yes. Yeah, there's, Agnes and Jenna Marie. Yeah.
Here you go with that. I just called them the teens.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So they're at the party, and I mean, some shit happens. So no, they leave, don't they?
Yeah.
They leave the party, and Harrowhark and Gideon do, so they can go. I think because they're trying to figure out what the second key goes to, right?
So they go to the study first, I believe, which is where the second key goes to.
Right.
And then they look in that. Gideon finds the letter that has her name in it. And Harrow finds that there's theorems to like necromancy.
Yeah, like, okay.
In each of the studies.
Yeah, and I think that's when Harrowhark is really talented for her age, I would say. She just, we don't have any ninth to compare to, so I feel like she's like pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, she can understand that, like, she just understands a lot of things better, and she doesn't share fucking theories. That's what I'm like.
She don't share information. Nobody shares information at this point. And then after that is when they go back to the basement to find another test. Because Harrow's like, we gotta pass all these tests before everybody else does.
Yeah.
Because we gotta get there first.
Yeah. And that's really what she's trying to do. She thinks if she can speed through them, she can become a lictor faster. And to basically, the whole reason she wanted to become a lictor, she wanted to basically bring some more breath back into her house, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, because their house is kind of
crumbling. Or dead, really.
I mean, yeah, really dead. I mean, yeah, technically. I mean, there's like a couple people that are still like alive.
And Harrow's parents are also dead, and she's just like animating them for the public.
Yeah.
That's gonna be important later.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. And it's they're really great from the shoulders up. From the shoulders down, they're a hot old mess. So before they leave, she kind of was like, they're resting. They're going through their don't disturb. It's like basically kind of how it goes. And then I think her aunts are the 3 nuns. They're all blind. And then you got Gideon's like teacher, which I know her.
You have the two military people.
Agleman and Crocus.
Yeah.
And then yeah. There's only like 5 people alive in that whole planet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why Harrow Hark is like really like, I need to do this because my house is fucking falling apart and we need to fucking fix it.
Yes.
So, so I think this is kind of where, is this where they do the?
No.
Still not? No, it's after this. Right, yes. You're right. So this is when after they kind of do some research in like the lab and kind of look through some folders, files. I think they find some pictures, like you said. And I think the act ends with the
fifth house.
The fifth house.
Magnus and Abigail.
Dead.
Yeah.
So, I assume it's like some kind of trap door that they all got a key to, and that's where all like the mazes of. At least that's how I
feel
picture
like
it.
There's multiple entrances to the the underground basement.
Yeah.
The facility is what they call it.
Yeah.
But also like they know how to like. If somebody goes missing, they kind of look for them.
Yeah.
Like they looked for Harrow.
Yeah.
So those two are found dead.
Yes.
And then they go to their second, like, test that Dulcinea found. The sixth house is looking into what happened to Magnus and Abigail, and the second house wants to call the cavalry in because they're the military house, and the eighth house is doing something with rules.
Yeah, the eighth house, it was like kind of like a stickler. Like I felt like he knew more information about what had happened than everyone else, just because it's been like million or 10,000 years or something since they've even seen the Emperor, since they've been called together. So they've been like living on their own houses, their own planets for a very long time. So this is kind of the first time that they've all come together, and the eighth house is like, this is how it should be. We're the main people.
Yeah.
Or at least that's kind of how I feel. He's just like, the stickler that you need to follow the rules and the traditions. He's a stickler for that shit.
And this is also where you kind of find out each house's like power, how they work their necromancy, because the eighth house kind of lets the necromancer take over the cavalier and control him, and the sixth house is medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the third house. Ianthe does something. Ianthe is an awful name, and I don't trust anybody with that name.
No, or you can call her Trident.
Tridentarius.
Yeah, I just shortened it to Trident,
which is 3, by the way.
I know, so I was like, yeah, that works. Don't judge me, okay? All these names are hard. Oh, by the way, Gideon's nickname is Griddle. I just want to throw that out there. Harrow Hark just says, "Come on now, Griddle." It's like, I just feel like it's an insult, but it doesn't feel like an insult. I don't know. Sorry, sorry.
Okay.
I had to throw it out there. I forgot.
Yeah. So this is their second trial that Dulcinea finds, and Pro is just there kind of being boring. This is what everybody says.
Yeah, which you kind of find out later why, but
yes.
He's just kind of, like she said, he's there for now.
He's there. But Dulcinea kind of goes, okay, well, can you help me with this to Harrow? And Gideon's like, yes, of course he can, because she has a crush on her.
Yeah.
And this is where you also find that Dulcinea has 2 keys.
Yes.
So she passed 1 test,
mm-hmm.
and she's supposed to be real sick.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I was, there, so, I don't even know how to word this. In the book, there are I probably could read this book 3 more times and still not get everything that I feel like I missed.
Yes.
Because, like, as I finished it, I'm like, man, like, I feel like I should have known. Like, I should have known the signs. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's so much information or, like, not hidden information, but
it's all out in the open, but until you know what's leading to, you don't know if it's important or not.
Yeah, so it's just, like, so much is just thrown at you, and you're like, okay, I'm writing this all down, and then I'm like, I didn't need to know the names of the damn sisters, because they're not important after they leave the planet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I feel like I could probably read this book a couple more times, and like how you you watch a movie again, you're like, man, I didn't see that the first time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I could do that with this book.
Yes. This book definitely could be reread multiple times, and you pick up on different things.
Yes.
I picked up on the key thing. I was like, oh, she has 2 keys.
Yeah.
But I didn't know there was a limited amount of keys at this point.
Yeah.
Because
it's not said yet.
It's not said yet.
Yeah.
So this is where Harrow kind of siphons Gideon's like essence life force.
Yes.
To pass the test.
Yeah, because I don't know if it was to help Harrow Hark or not, but this is why Dulcinea can't, because she's already so sickly, but she is dying, but she can't survive. I don't know. She couldn't do it.
She couldn't walk that far.
Yeah, she couldn't walk that whatever bullshit she said. Yes. So it's like this field of decay. I don't even know what it is. So basically, Harrow Hark has to go into a room, and as soon as you enter the room, you like start disintegrating, right? Kind of, or being. I don't know. I would
something
say
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, acidy or I don't know, something like that. But to get around that is basically Harrow siphoning Gideon's life force, basically. They call it something like
the energy or something.
The energy. Yes, thank you. I was like, it was a T word, but yeah, basically siphoning the life force out of Gideon, so that Harrow Hark could pass or walk through this like little doorway into wherever
and get the key.
Find the key.
Oh, happy will be.
Find the key. So yeah, I think this is where some shit starts to happen.
Yes.
So after that, then I think the murder squad or detectives haven't gotten anywhere, and now people are starting to like be missing /
So
just don't.
This is where Protestolaris goes missing.
Pro, yeah.
From
The
Dulcinea's house.
Cavalier. I love that word. I don't know why. Anyway, sorry.
So he goes missing, so they go and try to like talk it out, I guess. And this is where the 6th house goes, there's only so many keys. You know that, right? Everybody knew that, right?
And we're like, no. And bitch, why didn't you say something first? No, I'm just kidding.
And Dulcinea gave him their keys, I think. She gave...
I was going to say it didn't matter because she already passed the challenges.
Yes. And,
what, didn't the 8th house take all the keys?
Yes, because they, like, duel.
Yeah, they dueled for... He dueled for the keys because he basically was like, y'all are fucking up too much.
Yeah, and the 2nd house is like, we're calling in enforcements. And the teacher's like,
good luck.
No, we can't do that. Nobody's coming. You can't call out.
Yeah, it's basically there is no line of communication to any of the other planets.
Yes.
It's important. So, there is no help coming. And yes, so there's some dueling going on. Some keys get... I wouldn't say taken.
Exchange, taken, yeah.
It's more of like a backhanded like challenge where they they didn't cheat, but it was not. I don't know.
Yeah, and Ianthe doesn't have any keys at this point.
Yeah,
she's pissed about that because Corona Beth has a key. Somehow Corona Beth has a key, but Ianthe does not have a key.
Yeah, she's mad about that. Which they're the two princesses.
Yes, they're
From the third
twins.
house. Yes.
So now everybody's like, we got to get the keys instead of like working together. They're all like,
We need the keys
We
in their
need
own
the-
house.
yeah.
But each of the themes kind of have like a reoccurring, obviously, theme where you can't do it just by necromancing power. You have to have
Both of them.
both the Cavalier and the Necromancer, or work together with the other houses, which they're incapable of doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Guess I'll say it that
and
way.
this is where it becomes kind of like a whodunit. Like,
Yeah, like
who killed these people?
Yeah.
Where are the keys? Why do we need the keys?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Pretty much.
And everybody splits off
yes.
into different directions.
Yes.
And then the 6th, 7th, 4th, and 9th house kind of team up.
Yeah.
And the 7th house can't really do anything because their Cavalier is missing.
And
First
you
of all.
know, Tasmania's like, dying, whatnot.
Yeah. And so the 6th house and the 4th house and the 9th house kind of split off. Gideon goes with the 2 teens from the 4th house.
Yeah.
And Harrow
Isaac
goes with the 6th house
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
To go look for Pro.
Yeah. I'm good with that, Pro. Yes.
And then Gideon and the teens go down into the facility, basement, whatever, and they come across another
Construct.
monster.
Monster of some sort. I know. Yeah.
And this one kills Isaac, I think is what his name is.
Yeah. Isaac. Yep.
Real fast.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And he...
they're only teenagers, so he hasn't really learned to be...
And I guess the 4th house is the one that just, like, goes headlong into battle. Like, they charge regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Isaac. So Gideon kind of takes in Jean Marie, whatever, Mary. I don't fucking know. However you want to say her name. The Cavalier of the 4th house.
There you go.
She kind of whisks her way because there is no
There's
saving
no-
Isaac.
yeah.
Isaac kind of gave them a chance to get the fuck out, and so they kind of... So Gideon doesn't know where to go, because there's a whole bunch, like, ghosts and stuff are coming out of the constructs, and people getting possessed. I mean, there's some shit happening, okay? So Gideon's like, I still have the keys with me. So they go into the tapestry...
They go
place.
into the first trial place.
Yeah, it's a laboratory, kind of. And kind of she stuffs her in there. I was like, I'll be back. And I actually don't know what happens with her afterwards.
So they both, like, go into that room, and then they kind of fall asleep, and then Jean Marie dies somehow. Somebody killed her with bone fragments.
Yeah.
But they didn't kill Gideon. Gideon is unharmed.
Yeah, I didn't get that part. I was like, I don't know what happened.
now-
but-
The death toll is 5 if you count Pro, who's missing
Oh,
stuff.
I didn't even do a death count. I was like, oh, that one died, that one died.
So the whole 5th house is gone, and the whole 4th house is gone.
Yes. 4th? Yep.
The 7th house is missing 1 Cavalier. Dulcinea is in the hospital because she's sick.
We use the hospital very lightly. We're just stuffed in a room because everyone that lives on this goddamn planet is dead and just resurrected by necromancer magic.
Yes.
I think we find that out by then, right?
No, I think that's later.
Oh,
But
my bad, guys.
okay, so Gideon's like all fucking pissed about
Oh yeah,
this.
she's mad.
And her and
So-
Harrow get into a fight. Harrow goes off to
Whatever.
find keys, I guess.
Yeah.
And Gideon goes snooping through her closet, and then she finds Princess Laris's head.
Yup. Yup.
And she takes it to the 6th house.
Yes.
And she thinks that Harrow is the one that's killing everybody.
Yeah, and that, I think, leads into chapter 4. Is that right?
Act 4.
Or Act 4, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, Gideon kind of wants to visit or go with Dawsonay, and Harrowhark's like, no. And that's kind of what they fought about. And Gideon's pissed, and there was, what's his name? Salus. He's the 8th house heir, necromancer, whatever he is. Yeah, he's a necromancer.
Yeah.
Kind of drops some hints. He's like, hey, if you want to learn some stuff, come get tea with me.
Yeah.
Which is just weird because everyone's dying. But let's get tea. Anyways. So Gideon, after she has the fight with Harrowhark, just like, fine, fuck you. I'm gonna go see what Salus has to say. Silas, sorry. As soon as I sound like that doesn't sound right. And so they have tea, and he's just like spitting some. I don't know. I don't think it's true. I don't know if it's true or not. That's the hard part.
So,
I mean, some of it is, or some he like drops like some breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
I guess.
like he tells her that the 2 that went off in the shuttle from the 9th house are dead. He also says that there's a reason why no kids are alive, and it wasn't what they said it was.
Yeah.
He also said that the 9th house was a manufactured house to hide, like, keep something locked up. And it wasn't supposed to be it wasn't supposed to be a house for long, it was supposed to die out. Which it hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
I think
some things that's happening now.
I think that's the gist of what he says.
Yeah.
So all of it is
speculation, I guess. It's not really speculation,
technically true, but it's from his perspective.
Yes. Yeah. So, of course, that leads into the 9th house is technically called Locked Tomb.
Yes. Which is what the trilogy's called. Or the series is called.
Yes, you're right. So, yeah.
So they talk to Dulcinea about Protesilaris.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh yeah, he was dead to begin with. he's a beautiful corpse, or whatever they call him.
Yeah. Some, like... And this is kind of like a lost art form, because all the people that are at the first house are, like, immaculate skeleton, like, people. Like, you wouldn't know they were...
Well, they're all skeletons, but they're all, like
really well put together. And that seems to be a lost art form, because everyone talks about, like, man, they look really good. I'm like, what do you mean they look really good? What can I do? So I think some things have gotten lost with time, obviously. But this is kind of, I feel like, the turning point for Harrowhark and Gideon's relationship?
Yeah.
Friendship, kind of. Because I think, she does talk to...
Because right around this time is where they talk it out. And I don't know if they talked to Dulcinea before she talked to the 8th house.
Right.
But regardless, Protesilaris was dead from the very start, and that's why their ship was delayed, because there was only one body that was alive.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
Because technically, one body.
Yeah. We're going to go with that until we... Yeah. So, I think this is kind of where... So, Harrowhark is like, okay, obviously this is not working. So she kind of goes into, like, a pool of water. And...
This is the truth pool.
This is, the truth pool. Like, I'm just like, how do I word this to make it make sense? But so it's like, I would say, like, probably like a spring or a bath or some sort. So she goes in there, and Gideon's like, oh, okay, cool, fully clothed, let's go into the truth of circle here. And this is kind of where Harrowhark is like, here's what's going on. And explains, like, some misconceptions regarding Gideon feels like she killed her parents, Harrowhark's parents, by telling on Harrowhark. Because obviously they hated each other growing up. So she's just like, haha, she went in somewhere she wasn't supposed to, and told her parents, Harrowhark's parents, and then they proceeded to hang themselves. So she feels like she caused their death by telling on Harrowhark. So she feels like this really, like, guilt.
Yes.
And so Harrowhark's like, no, bitch, you didn't cause, no, you're being an idiot. That's not what caused their death.
Yes.
And it was like, basically like, you're not at fault. My parents decided to kill themselves because of reasons. And kind of explains the reasons why that she went into the Forbidden Tomb, which you're not supposed to do, that held the Emperor's greatest threat.
Which is a lady that's chained.
Yeah.
And also, Harrow explains the children.
The children.
So, her parents needed Harrow to be a necromancer.
Right.
So, to do that, they had to kill a bunch of children to get their energy and put it into the pregnancy.
Make it a baby.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's where all the kids went, and Gideon was supposed to die during this, but she didn't.
Yeah, yes. So it's another, like, lost art form. So basically you can literally do just about anything in this book to deal with, like, necromancy. You just have to be willing to pay the price. And obviously the price of having a child born to the heirs and be a necromancer, they needed sacrifices. So that's why they're kind of in the spot they're at, or at least their house is.
Yes.
And that's kind of explains why everyone looked not down on. I would say
they feared Gideon.
They feared Gideon because she was like 2 beds down from the vent that they were pumping in gas to kill everyone, to siphon their, like, souls out, and she still lived. And they're all like, huh. So this is why all the sisters are blind, is because as they were, like, releasing this, like, some kind of, like, mustard gas into the ventilation system, I'm not sure what it was, obviously, it was so potent it blinded them, and which is, ooh. Like, I got goosebumps, like, what the fuck is happening in this book? So that kind of explains, like, Harrowhark's parents were like, we don't like Gideon, like, what's wrong with you? Because they couldn't come up with a reason why she was spared. And
yeah, and we don't know that either yet.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't explain it in the book, much to my dismay. That's fine.
That's why there's multiple books.
Yes. So that's when she finds, like, the head and Harrowhark stuff, and then when she's like, I think Harrowhark is trying to kill everyone. Because, before they did the Circle of Truth, Gideon's like, Harrowhark will do anything to become a lictor because she knows how much the house needs it.
Yes.
This is where it starts to get, like, fucking, like, a lot thrown at you. Like, Act 4, I was like, a list of notes this long here. So that's when you find out that Destiny and Pro was just a puppet base. Well, that Dulcinea was being a puppeteer for Pro. So he's dead, technically. He's already dead.
Oh, and the 4th house found some weird remains of 2 people.
Oh, in the incinerary. Incinerary. I don't know where the incinerary is located, but they found some.
Like, it'll come back.
Yeah.
One of those people is Pro. So they know one of them. They don't know the other one.
Yes.
And I was very suspicious of Dulcinea this whole time.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Because she was, like, weirdly attracted to Gideon when they first landed. So I felt like that was kind of like, what's going on here? Because I didn't understand, like, the connection. I just thought, well, Gideon, we know why. She thought she was hot, but...
Also, also, she has 2 keys, and she's sick.
Yeah.
And she has a puppet for a cavalier.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just...
So, how did you get one of them keys? So, I want to know.
Yeah, and that's kind of what brought up to light with everything going on. Because one of the keys... One of the locks got... No?
Messed with, yeah.
Yeah, one of the locks got messed with. Now, I think was Decimea, wasn't that? Or...
Yes.
Yeah.
But you don't find that until...
Yeah, until way, way later. Yeah.
So this is where people start dying.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, so the 6th and the 9th house team up.
Yes.
So Gideon, Hairhark, and who is the 6th?
Camilla.
Sexist and Camilla. Yeah. I liked them. They were really nice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And Camilla can fight like nobody's business.
Oh, yes. She's a really, 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 really good fighter. I don't know why.
So that's when they start going to the rooms and seeing what they can find as far as the necromancy theorems and this.
Yeah, I think once they get into that, it's another lab, and then they discover that the souls that were left behind is what keeping the house, or the house running.
So this is where I think Teacher and all the skeletons and stuff like die.
Yes.
For the second time.
Yes. Something about like I'm not sure what triggers it, but it's kind of like a burr, burr, fire
alarm,
and then everyone just like,
and then
like a reset button where they all just like beep, but don't get back up, kind of like power off. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened is that the second house was trying to call out again, and they killed Teacher. So it triggered everybody else's.
Yeah.
Because
we don't find that out until after they get back up,
Yeah. And then there was also obviously skeletons in the kitchen cooking their food, so fire.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think is what happened.
I got you. That makes sense now. I'm just like, there's a fire. I don't know. Some shit happened. Because we don't find that out. And it like kind of like goes back and like, this is what happened. And I was just, at that point, it was like 80% in, and I'm like, why is there so much happening? Stuff. Yeah, it was. I don't want to say the book felt rushed, but there towards the end, I felt like it was rushed.
I think it was a lot of info all at once.
Yeah, there was
a
ton of info, like information dump, and which is it sets it up for I think the second and third book. That's why I felt like it was kind of rushed because it leads into more that we haven't read yet. Anyways, so this is kind of
so this is where everybody starts dying.
Yeah.
So the second house is in their like teacher's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavalier Teacher killed the Cavalier, and then the necromancer killed Teacher, but he was also injured, I think is what happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's some shit that, there's some stuff that happens, but then you find out, like, the Teacher was just
a construct.
A construct that had lived, oh my god, I can't imagine, like, living that long and serving nobody.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, no one there at the house. Like, fucking kill me. Like, no. Anyway, sorry.
And then they meet up with everybody because they need keys, I guess.
Yeah. And Judith. So that, the second house died.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they go to another study room to see, to unlock it. Ianthe, Coronabeth, and their Cavalier are...
Nefarious.
Yes. Are, which she calls Babs.
I know. I was like, who the fuck is Babs? I had to go back and I'm like, I don't know who Babs is. I feel like I should know this. And this is where, nicknames don't help in a book.
Yes.
Unless they've already been called it. And I didn't know. Anyways, yes.
So...
yes. So...
Ianthe has figured out how to become a lictern. And she's killed their cavalier. Corona Beth is crying in the corner.
She loved him. I
yes.
think, yeah.
Ianthe is all powerful now, I guess. Yeah. This is why I don't trust people named Ianthe, and and the court books don't help either, because there's a character with that name as well.
Is she also a baddie?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. So this is where Ianthe, see, fucking I hate her name already, is like super powerful, and so basically she's figured out, of course she's like, I'm all knowing, fuck y'all. Because she was like, I did all this stuff before everyone else, you know, has this like air of superiority.
She also goes, I did this without keys.
Yeah. Yeah, but so basically she tells them that to become a lictor, you basically have to kill your cavalier,
eat part of them,
siphon their soul, and they're like stuck with you.
Yeah, like they become one.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't understand. Okay. I mean, I do now, but like when that scene, I'm like, she just went. No. Anyways. So yeah.
This is also where you find out that Corona Beth is not a necromancer. She's just kind of a tag along.
Yeah, which I didn't know why that was important.
I think because Ianthe could have chose her or Babs as their cavalier, and she chose.
Yeah, because weren't they brother? That was their brother, right?
No, I think he was just another.
Oh, I thought they were like triplets or some shit. At least that's how I. No. Maybe I just got caught up in the twins thing. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's why they were held up in the shuttle, because there was 3. Yeah.
And then the 8th shows up. And the 8th's power is that the necromancer siphons the cavalier, and like he can puppet him and control him.
Yeah.
So
that's what they're known for.
He goes after Ianthe, because why, I don't know.
Because she's disturbing the power. She, for the crime of killing their cavalier, I think. Because, like we said earlier, the 8th house is very, like, tradition and rules, and he can't let that go.
Yeah. And then, they start to fight.
Yeah, it's very much obvious that she is very, very much more powerful.
Yes. So, not only does she have her her skills as a necromancer.
Like, you have me all fucked up now. Necromantic powers?
Whatever.
Yeah, okay, yeah, moving on.
She also has the skills of a cavalier, so she can fight like Babs, which is why I'm going to call him from now on.
Yeah, that's fine. Now we all know who he is. He did. That's fine.
So he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the 8th house is still alive, the 6th house is still alive, 7th's necromancer is still alive, 9th house is still alive, and the 3rd. Everybody else is dead.
Yeah. Yes.
Except for the 3rd's cavalier. So the 2 twins are still alive. Okay. The 8th house and Ianthe start to fight.
Yes.
The 8th house uses his necromance powers.
Yeah, I'll call him Ashton.
Yes.
Asht.
And while he's doing that, something else, like a ghost or a spirit, something in the house takes over his body, possesses him, and kills the necromancer from the 8th house.
Poor Silas.
Yes. And then Ianthe kills the necromancer? Not the cavalier? Or did Gideon kill? He dies. In this part.
Column. Yeah. Yeah, and Ianthe kills him, yeah. Yeah, something possessed him. Yeah. And then they kind of just break off.
Yeah, they
Like,
kind of
go their own way.
Well, the guy from the sixth house goes to see Dulcinea.
Oh,
This
yes.
is what's happening.
Yeah.
And then they go, Gideon knows that he's going there. And she kind of tells Harrow and whatever her name is,
Camila.
to go and get her actual sword.
Oh, yeah, she gives Hera hard to say. Yeah. Yeah. And then this is kind of where it comes out that Camille tells the others that Sexist was infatuated by Dulcinea. And, like,
They had a relation, a letter relationship.
Yes, because, of course, you know.
They couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what she looked like. So
Yeah.
he goes and he confronts Dulcinea because he knows something's up. And also in this point is where Harrow's like, well, Dulcinea said that she didn't know
Yeah.
the people from the sixth house. They only met a couple times.
Yeah. So that's where some
Yeah.
some of their lies start to unravel. And Gideon, like, goes with Sextus because she's like, oh, my bad, I didn't know you guys were a thing. Like, she thought she got in between them. And then this is where you find out that Dulcinea
Is not Dulcinea.
Yeah.
She is a lectern from the first group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to say her name because
Carithia?
Sure.
Carithia. I like it. That's what I'm going with.
But she took over Dulcinea's ship and killed Protessa Laris in the ship. Dulcinea was dying and she died on the way to the first house. So this is why when their ship got stopped, there was only one person alive in there.
Yeah. And she tries to, like, play it off. Well, you know, Dulcinea would have died in, like, 6 weeks anyways. Because she was dying.
Yes.
She had some kind of, like, blood disease. Blood cancer, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And so she's, like, trying to, like, justify, like, she was gonna die anyways. I just took over her body for a little bit. It's fine. Like, yeah, that makes it better, you.
Yeah.
So this is where,
She has her villain monologue, and
Sextus tries to...
he tries to kill her, but he also, like, with his necromantic power, he makes her cancer worse.
Yes.
Because they're medical.
Yeah.
He also blows himself up because he expels all of his power at once. This also does not kill the not Dulcinea.
Because she is a lictor.
Yes.
Fucking bitch. I'm just kidding.
And this is where Camilla, Gideon, and Harrow kind of start fighting her, and then there's also a construct that comes out at this point. Ianthe shows up, she tries to kill her, not Dulcinea rips her arm off, and then Ianthe goes somewhere.
I lost a lot of characters in this because I'm like, I don't even know where Corona Beth was. I don't know what happened to her. I think she died. I don't know. But yeah, this is like, so this is where the fight with Corinthia, Corinthia and, they're both lictors, but since, Ianthe, I can't say her name to save my life. Since she's so new, I don't feel like she's not as powerful as the other lictor, obviously.
And her cavalier wasn't willingly
absorbed. Which apparently matters. Like, she doesn't have a grip on her power yet, and it's said from I don't know if she's the first lictor, but Corinthia, she says that her cavalier, when she became a lictor, came willingly, and it took her, like, years to get over
the joining, I don't know.
Yeah, like, it was kind of weird. And so, since he didn't go willing, Babs didn't go willingly, she's having some issues with kind of like tapping into her full potential, I guess, would be the best way to kind of go about that.
And, so Ianthe gets her arm ripped off, and then
which is fucking crazy.
Yes.
Like, so, down on the ropes, she's like, you'll make a great battery, because that's what Corythia needs, is she needs life forces. So she's like,
because she's been dying for 10,000 years, because she has the same cancer as Dulcinea.
Yeah. So, this part, like, woo! Like, I was like, oh my god. So she's like, you'll be a nice battery, but you don't need arms or legs. Oh my god! And then she, like, rips off the one arm, and I'm like, oh, shit got real! I was just like, damn. Like, I'm just like, okay, this bitch means business!
Yeah.
And so she basically concocted this whole thing because she wants to kill the Emperor.
Yes.
I was like, King, nope.
She was going to kill all of the houses, necromancers and cavaliers, so that the Emperor would come down and fight her, I guess. I don't...
Yeah. But he's not allowed to set foot, or...
Yes. I think it has something to do with the tomb in the 9th house.
Okay. Not sure. We're not sure why. But the 2nd house did kind of get out a alert
to the Emperor. Because they can't call anybody else.
Who's just chilling in space because they can't land on this. I don't know why. It doesn't say. It doesn't tell us why he can't. Or if it did, I didn't. Yeah.
So, during this battle, they're all kind of, like, getting fucked up bad.
Yeah. Because Harrowheart kind of joins the fight. Mostly try to kill the bone monster. So they kind of do like they did in the first trial, where Harrowheart kind of uses Gideon's eyes to pinpoint, and she doesn't think that she can kill it, so she just melts it to stay in place, kind of. Yeah. I think so. Like it can regenerate. So Harrowheart kind of uses that to her advantage, and it was like, okay, you hit these points, and before it can regenerate, she like melts it, and that's, I don't know, it holds it back for a little bit.
Yeah.
But clearly they're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man. And I know Camille kind of goes in there and fights too, and she gets injured, not seriously, but injured. And then Gideon gets fucked up. I think her knee gets shattered at some...
Yeah, they're all injured at this point. So
everyone's injured except for Harrowheart. She's just low on power.
Yeah. And then Harrowheart was going to sacrifice herself, and Gideon was like, nah, we ain't doing this.
Yeah, no, we don't want that shit.
So Gideon jumps off something, and her spikes below, and she impales herself through the heart. Mm-hmm. That's one of the keys to making a lectern.
Yeah.
And then the next chapter, Harrow is a lectern now, and she's like, because somehow she ingested something with Gideon's.
Yeah, I don't remember when or what, but yes. Yes, so Gideon kind of sacrifices her life, and basically, like, before she does that, she's like telling Harrowheart, like, don't fuck this up and don't make my death in vain, and then and I'm like, I guess I knew like how the lictor was like made, but I'm like, no way they're gonna kill the main character.
I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, Game of Thrones rules, don't get attached, bitches.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So, after this, Harrow has more power, because she's a lictor.
Yes. And
she can fight like Gideon.
Has like a ghost image of Gideon in her mind. So, she like holds on, and Gideon's like, you have fucking noodle arms. Which I fucking love. I don't think... I don't know, like, in the second book, if she still hears Gideon's thoughts or whatever. I don't know. But it just happens in that one moment in the book that we know of.
So she goes after not Dulcinea.
Not Carithiana the First, the
Yes.
lictor of the Great Resurrection is her title, I guess, or at least that's how she tells herself.
And she kind of takes her out in another battle.
Yeah.
And then she passes out.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up with some random dude staring at her.
Yeah, that's not creep at all, yo. And Hera Hark like sees the guy and she immediately knows he's the Emperor.
Yes.
Like I don't just knows. So she's like gets out of bed, like is down on her knees. She's like, please, please save Gideon. And he's like, no,
I can't do that.
You've already absorbed her soul. Like I don't know what you want from me. And then so the only people that got off the planet were Hera Hark and
Ianthe.
yeah, that one.
So there are a couple missing people. Camilla being one of them.
Yeah, Camilla, Gideon's body,
and Coronabeth are all missing.
yes,
Because Coronabeth is not dead. But
she's dead to us though. No, I'm
we don't know
kidding.
where she went.
Yeah, out of the people that were still alive on the planet, we don't know the whereabouts of Coronabeth and Gideon's body, which they made,
And Camilla. We don't know where she
and
is.
Camilla, yeah, but they specifically said that Gideon's body was lost or not there, which I don't know. Feels like
Something's happening with it.
something in the next couple of books, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, it's and it kind of doesn't it kind of explode, like the place. Well,
Like,
I know
mean,
I know it starts coming down.
Yeah.
Because they battled so hard they broke the fucking room at least. Some cracks and some shit. Sometimes it happens.
And Hero decides that she's going to work for the Emperor and become kind of like his saint,
yeah.
his lectern.
Because the
whatever.
Emperor basically was like, hey, we're having the same problem as the ninth house. I'll restore your house if you help me. Because they're coming into, obviously, the second book, which
Yeah.
is Hero.
And they're fighting some kind of space battle, the Emperor is. And why he can't step foot on the planet.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. Which obviously leads into the second and third book.
Yes.
Which you did get like a preview in this. Did your paper copy have a preview of the second chapter?
Yes.
Or the first chapter of
Yeah,
the
but
next
I didn't
book?
read it.
Okay. It didn't make sense to me, so I was like, oh, okay. I did, because I think I want to finish the series.
I will probably read on in the series, but I hardly ever read previews of other novels.
Oh, gotcha.
So I just skip it.
Yeah. I wanted some tad bit on, like,
I wanted some more information.
I wanted some more information on Gideon. I'm like, I want more. Like, I was hoping that in the couple, I think it was like 2 chapters into the next book, I was hoping to get like Gideon's sass, like in her head.
Yeah.
Because I really liked that when they were defeating the lictor. So I was like, oh, this would be great. This is awesome. Because I really liked Gideon. Like, she was a really good main character. She was like Lady Deadpool, basically. She was just like, I don't give a shit. Fuck you. I say what I want, do what I want, and I just love that attitude.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was here for it. So that was Gideon the Knight.
Yes.
There's a ton of stuff that we're leaving out because there's just so much information thrown at you.
It was very info dumpy, and I
Yes.
think this one will benefit from a second read, from a read.
Yeah, 100%. Which I probably will do.
Yeah. To get all the character names at least.
Yeah, or at
Like,
least-
now I know who's important
Yeah.
to pay attention
Yes, yes, 100%. Are we ready for rating?
Yeah.
Ratings. Okay.
to. So this was our sci-fi pick, by the way.
Yes.
That's going to reflect our rating. In our rating.
Okay, alright. Well, you want me to go first or you want to go first?
You know first.
Okay, so I gave it an overall rating of 4. I really, really enjoyed it. Once I got past like the not a weird point of view, but a different from what I read point of view, I really did enjoy it, and obviously I really liked the character. I really liked Gideon's sass because she was just fucking noodle arms. Like, I love it. Like, I don't know. And of course I really like dark gothic. So this ticked all my boxes. I was pretty happy with it. I really enjoyed reading it.
Okay, so my overall rating is a 3.5.
Okay.
And I think that was because it was very info dumpy. You had a lot of characters to memorize all at once, and that kind of took away from the overall story for me. I think if I reread it, it'll probably go up because I'll know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you'll know what characters to kind of pinpoint, stuff I really wanted or know that I need to pay more attention to when I'm reading it again. But yeah, it's definitely one I definitely reread, and I would probably finish the series.
Yeah. Because with this one, like, you can get the second trial where they're talking to Dulcinea, you're like, oh, this shit's going down.
Yeah.
Or, like, when they're all together talking, you're like, okay, well, this is why this is important.
Yeah.
In these chapters.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Which isn't bad necessarily.
No.
So what was your science-y rating?
1 star. Because all it is just planets. Like,
okay.
And there was some medical stuff, but it wasn't. To me, it was more fantasy. It almost does all of our stuff except for romance, really.
I mean, yeah, that's very much true. Yeah, I mean, I think they were trying to do a little bit of romance with Gideon and Harrowhark being maybe like more than friends, but then Harrowhark is in love with the person in the locked tomb, or has a heart on for her, or whatever, you know.
But also, Gideon kind of has a crush on Dulcinea this whole book, so it's like,
yeah.
But it overall, as a science fiction book, it wasn't
sciencey.
It was more fantasy, which is why I was afraid of when we picked this one. I was like, is this going to be more fantasy or is it going to be more science fiction? And it's definitely more fantasy.
See, I disagree with you. I feel like it's more science fiction than fantasy, but more just because I feel like Necromancer is more of a sci-fi trope. Like, I know it's a lot in fantasy, but like I felt like I gave the sciencey a 2.5 just because necromancy. I mean, you need to know a lot of anatomy, and just working in the medical field, I know how difficult that is.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, damn, I can, because they were like naming body parts. I'm like, I kind of know where that is. Like, I just rated it just because of that fact, and then like the labs down in like the underground area. So that's kind of where I gave it more of a sciencey kind of rating. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was more sci-fi just because maybe more of like the nit and gritty is more sci-fi than fantasy.
Okay. I can see that. Necromancers are more of a fantasy trope for me, just because it pulls on like magic and less science.
That's true.
Like,
too.
I know you're knitting together a body and bringing back a body, but it's more of a magic trait
than
versus a science trait. Unless you're Frankensteining it, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole different issue altogether. No, I get it. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. I gravitate more towards sci-fi anyways, like in sci-fi, which I think is funny. Because I like more sci-fi, you like more fantasy. And
yeah.
So we're just like that video game, Split Fiction.
Well, that's what this podcast is all about, is our different genres.
100%. So, yeah, I think that's about, I don't know. I just felt like I could see the sci-fi, if it was just banking on just the shuttles and being in space, yes, definitely not sci-fi. But just, I think the whole story in general and how it arced in, I felt more sci-fi than fantasy to me.
Okay.
Which is...
This what it is.
Yeah, no. Which I think it's funny. We usually have opposite opinions, so, but that's always fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Hopefully. That's the goal anyways, guys. Anyways, so that's Gideon the Ninth, and we went over our ratings. So the next one is our horror pick of the month, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's called Manhunt. I want to call it Manhunter every single time, but it's Manhunt.
Manhunt. Yes. By Gretchen Fletcher.
Martin.
Yeah.
There's kind of a glare.
Yeah, no. So that's our horror pick, and then our fantasy pick is the last one of the month.
And that one is back here.
God Killer.
And that one's God Killer, which you can't see at all in the sun. But God Killer by Hannah Canner.
So, all right. I think that's all. Anything else you want to add?
If you haven't followed us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. We're Know Thy Shelves.
Yes.
And I think that's it.
Yes.
And then we obviously post on Instagram, but we're more on Facebook. So.
Yeah. Just for now, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.